a cruel life. Lillian and her husband, they lived a good kind of a life. For he was the head of the family in that kind of a house. The only voice of a man, the only deep voice, it came from the same husband. And most of the times, they enjoyed their own love in respect, in care, and all together, in togetherness and humbleness. But this very family survived on selling nothing but honey, for he was a behavior. A behavior going out to do his own duty. And one of the days, he went for the same kind of a duty, and he never returned back. As he never returned back, checking the minutes, the time, as he usually goes, or as he usually does, that in 3 hours, 2 hours time, he would be back. In 2 hours, 3 time, he will be doing something else, preparing the honey and getting ready for the market. And again, during the same day again, been calls and calls, people asking, are you guys coming today in the same place? We are already waiting for you this side, or else we can come at home. But the wife could reply and say, I'm sorry, we're gonna be late, but we are on. We'll be with you soon. That was the reply. That will be on always was the reply. But again, during this day, it's been a delayed, a procrastinated kind of a process. And she is now getting worried. I am now getting worried. My head is itching. What is happening? Where is he? She kept on asking questions and questions. As much as she got worried, the time was still ticking away without any worry of anyone. And it was in that time again. That time after 2 hours, 3 hours until sunset. That is the time when the wife never knew any way to the same kind of a bush or a wilderness or a forest, but still remained within her own heart, knowing that her own husband used to go out in the wilderness and brings nothing but great litters of honey each and every day. But for a day like this, he is nowhere to be seen. Smelling something fishy. What is it? But somehow could feel and still can somehow foresee a dark kind of a cloud, bringing nothing but the darkness. It was in that time that she went to the police station, for he never had a cell phone with him, but the only phone that remained was the landline in their own homestead. And it was in that time, after she answered so many calls from the customers, inquiring and asking about the way, their own kind of absence in the same kind of a place where they used to sell. And the same female was tired and now not picking any phone, but having kind of a troubled mind, a troubled heart, and having the fear, and so much gripped with fear, and so much loaded with a load of worry, and again thinking of this and that. But where can I go? Where can I report? Asking the neighbors, asking those who are far away beyond the other neighbors, and they responded, we've never seen him today. We saw him early in the hours of the morning, and we never saw him in the afternoon times. And this way, he went this other way, he went that way. We saw him wearing a white t-shirt. We saw him passing by. We saw him walking, carrying his own gallons. We saw him carrying his own small bag. We saw him in the hours of the early morning. Those were the responses from all those people who saw the man in the early hours of the morning. Going not anywhere but taking his own usual way, or some kind of a common way he used to take each and every time when he goes to his hunt. To the police station. As she arrived and she launched some kind of a notice that my husband is nowhere to be found. This is so strange because each and every time when he goes and when he comes late, it will be only later than 2 hours or less than 2 hours. But right now, right in this kind of a day, it's been beyond 7 hours and there is no word. There is no any kind of a person who has seen him anywhere, anyhow, near or far end. But I am reporting a missing person. It was done. The duty was done. She was told to go at home and stay indoors and remain until the cops, the police, the investigators, they will do. They go and search and look for that person as she directed them, that in this kind of a wilderness, after this way, beyond that dust road and beyond those mountains, beyond that kind of a river and beyond the river, that is the place that he usually goes for a hunt. And they took their own duty. To their own astonishment, their own disbelief, they found that the man, the great man, the same man on which already I am saying the same wife was already mourning, somewhere thinking or suspecting nothing but death. But indeed, in her own mind, in her own heart, she knew that something spread, something strange, something evil has happened. And indeed, the same kind of a body was already somewhere, somehow, but covered and hid by nothing but stings of the bees, and he was already motionless, gone to the departed. Finding it so difficult, so hard, so unhandleable, the information, the same kind of an evidence, the same proof they have already found that the man is no more, and on which way, how are we gonna tell the same wife who is now already a widow in their own side, on their own belief, on their own kind of finding the same evidence that they have already labeled that she is now a widow? They found it so difficult. How are we going to disclose the news which still remain as the bad news? That the husband is no more. Yes, it is fine. We can say we found him, but where is he? But he is no more. It was so difficult for the police to take the same kind of the message. But nevertheless, it is so painful. We are deeply pained and touched that your husband is no more. As she was in tears and in disbelief, but the policeman could only be seen getting out of the yard without saying any word. But the message was finally, and the message again was enough to give nothing but pain in the heart of a widow and her only beautiful daughter, who still remained, is Liza. And again they were in tears as they hugged one another, but again heartbroken because of the tragedy that their own father is no more. It was over and it was no more. He was buried. And the family survived a different kind of a life. They led a different kind of a life. And Lillian was she was growing. Still again at a secondary school, but now doesn't have a father but with a mother. And the mother again, who's now a widow, and again the mother is now someone who doesn't have anything to do or to bring money or anything so that they can bring food on a table. But it was in that time again that she was still someone who is a widow, and the time is giving an opening that let again I try something else. Then in another time she fell in love with another man. And this man again, being a man who was so much drunkard, brought nothing but a great pain upon a wounded kind of a family, on which he was the same kind of a man who could not bring any kind of fruits, any kind of groceries for the family, but all what he wanted was to take advantage of a widow and to be with her in all the times, but in another way, not supporting the same family, but his own love was a fake kind of a love, until the time came that one of the painful days, being the same day of a night, that as he was drunk, he used to send Lillian to the beer gardens during the night, to the same shabins of the same kind of a village during the night, to buy some alcohol without any care of her safety. And he never cared about his own safety. And it was in that time that as time went on and on again, the same man passed away on his own way as he was coming from the beer garden. And again, the same kind of silence came back in the same family. The same family again was only displayed within their own eyes. It was nothing but tears, as pipes of tears were the display in their own eyes each and every time. The pain so much within their own hearts. Now there is another gap, and now still is that life, and that life again is another life. Until as time went on and on again, Lillian's mother again happened to be in love with another man again. And for no other kind of a bad luck, the man was so handsome, so lovely and caring, and a good kind of a gentleman. For he provided whatever they needed. He could pay the school fees and give everything that the daughter wanted, and supported the family in a good kind of a way. And in whatever they needed, they lacked nothing, and in whatever they wanted, they ate in whatever they wanted. To quench their own kind of thirst, they drank, and it was in that kind of a home that music of dance, music of joy was being played, and they lived in peace and harmony until one of the days, as he was driving with Lillian's mother to the marketplace to buy some fruits. It was in that kind of a dark day that the kind of a vehicle that he was driving somewhere somehow around a corner, the front kind of a right hand wheel somewhere somehow lost its own kind of a position, and somewhere somehow went off the same kind of a tire wheel, and it was in the wilderness, and he lost the control, and it was in that kind of a vehicle that it veered off the road into a flowing kind of a river, down into a broken kind of a sewage, and it was in that kind of a sewage that the body of a man and his own wife were found being the deceased, and the car was already beyond a repair, and it was in that kind of a painful day that the daughter heard the news and witnessed the death of a mother and a so loving kind of a father who still remained as a stepfather, and she felt the pain. Who else will look after me now? Who else will be with me right now? And it was a pain and a pain in another life. And the same kind of a family is no more, but she is lonely, no one to take care of, no one to be with her. And it was in that time she could not bring any food for herself. She can't even afford to buy her own kind of sanitary kind of anything like a soap or any piece of any kind of a piece of a manicure or anything, but it was in that painful kind of a day that she led another kind of a thought. Let I move from where I stay and go to the growth point, and then maybe I will start another kind of a life. And she stood by the street corners. What else can I do besides selling my body? But it was so difficult to be committed in that kind of a business, somehow, if I can say. But again, she would turn back from the same kind of a corner, feeling so shy and embarrassed, and all over again back to the same kind of a home where she used to stay with her own parents. The house is empty. There is no food. There is nothing to eat. And the stomach is complaining. She is hungry. She is starving. What can she do? And she goes again in another day, another evening, at the same kind of a corner, wearing the shortest kind of a miniskirt. And again, washed her body with the smallest kind of a left kind of soap. And again, lotioned her own body to be somehow much lookable and presentable. And it was in that corner again that for the first time she was taken by the other man. And again, home morning, she found herself with the food where she belongs. Something to eat, something to grab whenever she is hungry, something to drink, and something left over so that she can buy something to survive. And it was on another day again. As she now started to love the same kind of an act, and she went again in the same kind of a spot. While she was still standing, waiting and waiting for an unknown customer who comes at an unknown time, and again being so anonymous to her also, then came a white kind of a pickup, a vehicle, which was a van. And someone came from the van straight to her. And she was still waiting to hear what this customer is going to say. Maybe I will also be budgeting to do this and that. And the man said to her, "How are you? Beautiful." And she responded, "I've been sent to call you." And she asked, "By who?" And he turned back and pointed at a white Toyota van which was parked some meters away. And she looked at the man, and the man said, "I am passing by. I was instructed to call you." Then the same kind of a girl who still remained as Lillian remained on her position. Then a second thought came, and she moved toward the same kind of a vehicle. And a man out of the vehicle said to her, "I love you, my dear. I do deeply love you. I adore you." But for the first time, she thought he was playing, and she went back to the same post spot again. And again, the man drove away. The following day was another day again, and the same man came to the same spot. And it was on a cold kind of a winter day. And she was already tired, sitting by the corner and already in her deep sleep. And the man was carrying a coat, and he covered her with that big kind of a heavy coat. And she could feel a heat and open her own eyes. To her astonishment, could see that this face is so familiar. It's a brand new kind of a face, but I know this person. And the man said, "I would love to help you. Please, come with me. Let us go to my place. Because of whatever she was going through, the pain and the feeling of coldness, she gave on and they went in. As he drove with her to his own place, he gave her coffee and gave her some warm water to shower, and it was in that time again. After she showered, he called her and he switched on a heater and told her that he does love her. Then it was in that time that the very man was taken and put in her own heart by no one, by herself, and they were in love. And again, as I am talking right here, right now, they are a happy married family. They have been already blessed with the triplets. All of those are the blessings. Thank you.